Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Welcome to Fresh Talk.
Welcome to Fresh Talk.
My name is Chris, talking really fast today.
What's up with you, man?
I don't know, it just kind of came out fast, now I can't stop.
Driving fast on that 33 again?
I am like that guy in the old Micro Machines commercial, remember those?
Yeah, I totally do.
Yeah.
He was like an auctioneer.
Yeah. I wonder if I could do that, but that shit's really weird because there's code.
Is it? Yeah, I suppose there would be.
There's like lingo. It's not just like, oh, I'm talking real fast, I mean, they get into weird stuff like, oh, I'm talking real fast right here, and got a 5-5-5 in your team, and got a 10, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
And you don't realize what I just said is I have a 1975 Chevy over here with a bad engine. Oh, it sold to the man in the back for $75.
Wow.
I just said that.
They must have taught you that in New Jersey.
I speak auctioneer.
A likely story.
I come from the land of auction.
Auction.
We speak auctioneer. Well, anyway, Dan, welcome to Fresh Talk.
Welcome to Fresh Talk.
We are here once again live in the barrage.
Indeed we are.
Yes, and today we actually have a topic, and this is an easy one. It's nothing we got to research. We can jump right into it.
That's correct.
And it's going to make everyone very hungry. That's our goal with this topic.
Is it marijuana?
Totally. Yes, we should do a stoned episode of Fresh Talk.
Oh, that would be real entertaining.
Would it? Or
No,
would it be bad?
We would think it was fairly entertaining.
Yeah.
Everybody else would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is dumb.
Totally. Yes. So apparently there will not be a stoned edition of Fresh Talk coming.
If there is,
anytime
we
soon.
won't tell you.
Yeah, that's true too. Maybe we should do one and let the listener say, okay, in the past 5 episodes, one was done under the influence.
In the last 89 episodes.
Yeah, which one
was on weed?
And it's not the one entitled On Weed.
Right. That's just about gardening.
Yeah. Totally. Well, Dan, how you been, man? How's everything going?
Good. You know, busy as usual. There's no school this week, so I have a nice, easy week.
Now, if people don't know, Dan is an IT tech man for the local school district.
That's correct.
So when there's a school break, do you have IT work to do?
Oh
Do you
my
get
God,
it
yeah.
off like a teacher does?
No.
Is that where you try and do things that you're not capable of doing?
It's when we can actually get some work done because there
Oh.
aren't teachers. And I love the teachers. Everybody's very nice. The administration's very nice.
You
Hard
don't
to
have
get
all
work.
these people begging you to come fix
You're
your
walking down the hallway and somebody's yelling, "Tech guy, can you come? Are you coming to my room?" And I'm like, I don't know, which room are you?
stuff. Wow. What a different way of life in
Totally.
terms of like, I'm thinking about like when I was in high school, for instance, or elementary school, there were no tech guys.
It's weird, man. When I was in high school, there was a phone on the desk, and that was it.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
And as everybody knows, there's always computer problems and there's always technological problems, blah, 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 blah. And so much is done now in schools that's computer based.
Yeah, all the state mandatory testing that we had to go
It's
through.
all computer based.
It's all computerized.
I mean, we used to do that on paper.
Yeah.
And like
like
number
a
2
Scantron.
pencils
Yeah,
and
you had to use a number
stuff.
2 pencil, and please bubble in your answer completely.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, please erase the answer completely and bubble into it. Like the whole thing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Everything's so different. It is such a different world.
That's why I have a job.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and to think that like there are people that lost jobs to make way for your jobs, like whoever was doing the number 2
Oh.
pencil Scantron tests, that company that made the pieces of paper that you did the Scantron on.
Well, they still use those, just not for the state testing.
Yeah.
Teachers still use them. I mean,
Not, but just everything, just the idea that you're a popular guy in a high school because you can help a teacher fix their computer system.
Chris, I've never been a popular guy at a high school,
You are now.
but I'm part of the staff
You're still popular.
with the teachers.
That's true.
Wink, wink.
You could probably shut down that whole school. Do you have the capability of shutting down the school
Yeah,
system?
of course I do.
You really do.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
I'm not saying that you can do it in secret. I'm not talking about Mr. Robot shit. I'm saying, but you could go to a school and basically shut down all their computers. You know, the things switch or pull out or whatever.
Oh,
You
definitely.
delete stuff, all sorts of shit.
Yeah, I mean, any IT guy could do that. But
Mhm.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. I
Even if
mean,
it got traced back to you, you could be like, you've done me wrong. So guess what? None of your computers work now. Or whatever was on your computer is now gone.
yeah, I could totally do that.
Man, I mean, what a strange world we live in too, in terms of just the power that an employee in your job or in the IT world
In IT, yeah.
has.
It's a really serious choke point because when it works, I mean, everybody uses computers now, like you said. Everything's done on computers. We rely so heavily on them that if they break, and I see it every day when a teacher has, you know, their actual. We used to have overhead projectors where they would, for you, those of you that don't know, children, they used to have a light bulb that would shine through a lens and then hit a mirror and project through a transparency sheet onto the projector screen, right? And they would use a pen and write on this transparency, and then that would show up via a lens. Now they use regular projectors. You plug your computer into it, that stuff. But like there are so many teachers now. It's like my projectors, I can't. How am I going to show my PowerPoint? What am I going to do? And in my head, I'm like, well, you could do what they did when I was in school. I teach, I guess. I don't know. There's a whiteboard still. Like,
and isn't a lot of classrooms these days, from my knowledge, like the chalkboard is gone. It's like marker boards.
oh, it's all whiteboard. So when I was in high school, and it's very interesting being back because I work where I went to high school now sometimes. They were transitioning to whiteboards. So some of my classrooms had chalkboards, some had the whiteboards. Now it's all whiteboard. And in fact, we're not to get too far.
Look at chalkboard makers. There's another one that's just can't be making the money they used to. Right?
I think they probably diversified and made whiteboards also.
You would hope.
There's the one guy like, what am I going? How am I going to feed my family? I can't make the chalkboard. So
why is that guy a foreigner?
Take it a stand because we're all foreigners.
Chalkboards are good, legitimate American.
Are they?
Yeah. I'll make a chalkboard.
Like
on
on
the Little
like,
House on the Prairie.
Laura
Ingalls Wilder.
You think
18 babies.
So they can get the chalkboard painted. I mean, you can still buy chalkboard.
Schoolhouse needs a chalkboard.
Well, now we're installing projectors that make the whiteboards interactive. So you have a pen and you can like draw on the whiteboard, but it actually draws on the screen because it's projected onto the web. It's crazy.
Things are just moving so fast.
That's amazing.
Man.
I love it.
I know we talk about that all the time, but there's not even time to take things anymore. The minute you get used to something, it changes. It's just technology. Obviously, ever since humanity existed, technology on some level has moved, but the jump in the past 100 years is mind-boggling. We live at a pretty crazy time.
Yeah, when they went from like banging rocks together to matches.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, I'm just saying, if you were around in 1800,
sure,
okay, and then you kicked off, you lived for 80 years, and you lived to 1880, you pretty much were experiencing the same world as an 80-year-old that your grandson did, for lack of a better word. But you move into the post 1950s world, and it's just
things are moving really, really quickly.
We talk about a lot. We talked on the podcast before, just the American experience of what kids dealt with in growing up, down to the similarities of chalkboards and stuff like that, and what they did after school and TV and how they saw movies. That's gone now.
Totally.
I mean, like, and we talk about like our parents' generation, even though obviously our parents are significantly older than us, they basically experienced the same American way of life growing up as a kid. The pursuits were very similar, but now if you and I were to have kids, what they will have experienced, because technology is moving so fast, will be so vastly different than what you and I did. Because like I said, we were closer to how we grew up is more like how our parents grew up. And they're going to grow up in a completely different thing where, wow, that did not exist when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, and I think it's,
you can't even share shit. Like, you even have a catch anymore, or you just like virtual catch?
Dad, don't tweet me. I'm on Snapchat now.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about several times, but Playboy, my God, look what the internet's done. How about the news?
Here's news. Playboy, no, and this is probably old news if you're a perv like we are. Playboy no longer publishing nudie pictures in their printed magazine.
And the definition of Playboy by any male standard is a magazine with nude women in it. Don't care if the articles were good. Don't care if they have the best interviews on planet Earth.
I always read it for the articles.
Yeah, and great articles.
Now you have no choice.
This is insane. This is what technology has done. It's taken away our nudie mags. It has come along and devastated the nudie mag industry. Playboy? I mean, they don't even have any like crazy hardcore shit. It's just like super, super hot girls, totally photoshopped.
So it wasn't real anyway.
Yeah, it's gone now.
What's on the internet? They're still publishing. They're still taking nude photos of these women.
They said they're still going to have like scantily clad women, but they're not going to have the nudity.
So you're just going to.
So you'll see everything but nipple.
Well, I suppose.
What the fuck, man?
What happened to this world? Yeah, the internet, arguably the greatest gift that our generation and the one prior has come up with. Like, it's basically considered by many to be a basic human right at this point.
Yeah,
even though it isn't officially.
It has transformed society on all levels.
Oh my God!
It is as important as the TV was.
Easily, we wouldn't be doing this show if it weren't for the internet. I can tell you that much. Sure. So, yeah, but it also took away the nudie mag.
It's an invention on the level of the light bulb and film / TV.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
And the telephone, for that matter.
And the telephone.
Probably like
it's replaced basically all of them except the light bulb.
Electricity. How would you put? What order would you put that in? It's a very scientific conversation.
Food, water, shelter, electricity,
But out of the-
because it powers the internet.
But out of the great inventions, electricity's the monster, right?
yeah,
Okay.
well, we had none of those
But
without that.
after that, light.
Nuclear power, space travel.
Okay.
On humanity's grand scale, but
I
then,
guess
like,
not in terms of the effect that it had on the world and society. Because space travel really don't fucking affect me all that much. I've never
Doesn't?
been to space, but I use electricity every 2 seconds.
I mean, DARPA, the internet was a brainchild of DARPA and CERN, which is the European, science research agency that's running the. Can't think of the name of the mega reactor they're running right now, the particle collider.
The one that Dan Brown writes about
Does he?
in Angels and Siemens.
No, that's the Playboy version.
Wow, man, just that's deep. But anyway, times are fucking changing. That's the whole point of that conversation.
Yeah, rapidly,
Yeah.
very, very
fast,
rapidly.
fast. Does it ever slow down, or is it only going to get faster? And
Well,
at what point is too fast?
until the zombie apocalypse, it's going to
Oh.
keep going. Really.
Speaking of zombie apocalypse,
Yeah.
Segue. You see
I would
commercials.
love to have a segue. Can I get one?
Yeah, is the same thing, right?
Huh?
A segue is a segue, right? Same word. Am I doing a Chris
Yeah.
J thing where I'm pronouncing it wrong?
No, that's correct.
'Kay.
You know the little thing that all the dorks write on?
Yeah, I know what a segue
Okay.
is. But a
I want one.
segue in a conversation is
Yes.
where you take a subject and essentially roll into another one.
Yeah, and so that's why they named it the segue.
Segue, because it gets you to places.
Yeah, you roll
'cause
between places.
A whole new world.
You even pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, I was so shocked that I pronounced it right. So, segue here, zombie apocalypse. Seeing some previews for a flick that does not look like a big budget flick, but clearly there's money behind it because it's on TV commercials.
Yeah.
Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. See anything for this?
I have seen. I know that it exists.
Is this
I
a
don't think I've-
comedy, a horror movie, a teen movie?
I-
What is this?
I don't know.
Because it kind of looked funny.
I think it's more of a teen
Looked like a Zombieland kind of thing, you know?
kind of. And Zombieland was great. It was really, really funny
Mm.
and tongue in cheek. I haven't think. I, don't
couldn't
think
I
I've
couldn't
seen the
catch
trailer
what it is
for
if it's a kids movie or whatever. There's a pretty attractive girl in it too. It's got a really cool poster, but they're dropping it like around Halloween. I've seen a couple trailers for it, but it was one. You know how sometimes you just hear about a movie like at the last second,
Mhm.
like it didn't have a big lead in. Like I didn't hear a lot about this on the net. Didn't see a trailer, and then all of a sudden it was just like Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
Yeah, it just kind of popped up.
Yeah, and I'm just curious if it was a kids movie, a teen movie, or like an adult zombie movie.
Or
a tongue-in-cheek kind of
Well,
thing.
it's coming out the 30th of October, so right before Halloween. I can't even find a rating on it right now.
Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. It
could
looked good.
Could be
That-
interesting.
yeah.
Could be interesting.
But or is it just more of just the same old zombie shit? You know,
I don't think you can get away with that anymore. I mean, you have to have an edge somehow.
Jesus, zombies everywhere all the time,
Yeah.
constantly. Zombie.
Well, you can thank The Walking Dead for that.
Yeah, really, you can single-handedly. Is that fair to say? Because I mean, there were George Romero zombie movies
this-
floating around
yeah,
forever.
Well, this
but-
go round, definitely. I mean, obviously, George Romero is the grandfather, the godfather of the zombie film, the slow walking, ambling zombie.
Mhm.
But yeah, this current resurgence, I think, is handily due to The Walking Dead.
so big,
It's massive.
so
It's back on the air.
big, so
Happy.
big. Walking Dead, you love it, right? You stand by it hardcore.
No, not hardcore. I wouldn't say I love it. I still watch it for a
Mm.
couple seasons. I was watching it begrudgingly. We're 2 episodes into season 6, and I think they kind of steered the ship back in the direction they needed to go last season. But I'm still-
Turn this boat around.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna do music references. Keep going.
You gonna sing The Love Boat next?
The love boat.
Those
They ever
shows-
make a porno called The Chub Boat?
I think you got your next movie title,
Gay porno?
or it's just a big boat shaped.
Because the
like a
Love
dick.
Boat lyrics are like, the love boat is coming to take you away. The Chub Boat could be, the Chub Boat is coming. That's all. You know,
That's
get the
just
next
it's
line.
just coming.
Sorry. Segue to Chubbies. So, Walking Dead, you still back it.
I'm still in. I'm not, I mean, I wouldn't.
You're not one of these obsessives, though. 'cause
No, no,
there's
no.
people out there that's like, that's my favorite show.
Yeah, and I'm not the guy that's like, you need to go watch this show. Give it a shot if you like it. Great.
Mm.
Fucking skip season 2 because it's boring as hell. Everybody knows that already. 3's better, 4's better still, 5's better still, 6's. We'll see.
Okay.
It's not the best show on television. It's no Breaking Bad by any stretch. I think
I
most of the HBO shows are better, but I still like it.
I've told you this. I tried, and I got into season 2, and it just, I just lost it.
Yeah, you may as well just jump.
But,
off
but
the
a lot
cliff.
of but how did they rebound? If everybody like yourself says season 2 is really boring and a mess, do things happen in it that suddenly would like suck me back in? Because like people talk about season 4 and 5 like it's just the greatest thing ever.
It gets pretty brutal. I will say they did do a good job of bringing it back. I don't know if it's ever going to capture the magic that the first season had.
Hard to have a bad season. Usually a bad season means it's coming to an end, you know.
Yeah, that's what happened with Heroes, which is also back, which I haven't started yet.
Yeah, you were a big Heroes guy, and they
so-
had that terrible season.
So angry when they just pulled the rug out from under it because
Yeah.
I was invested.
First season of that was tremendous. I
first
loved
season was it season 2 that took a shit? I can't
it.
remember.
I feel like
now.
the first 2 seasons were good, and then things got really weird.
Probably, and it just there was a writer's strike.
Yes,
That's what happened.
happened.
So season 2 was really, really short. They didn't really have any depth to the characters or to the plot. It was kind of the same thing.
Speaking about controversial TV shows, Leftovers. Do you do The Leftovers?
I have not yet started The Leftovers.
You've never seen it
Nothing,
from day
not
one.
a thing.
Cool. I was very outspoken when we discussed The Leftovers on the podcast
Yeah.
because Kai was a fan of it.
Yeah, Kai was in. He
Kai
was in for
backed
the
it.
long. He's
Yeah.
like, I see the grand picture happening.
And my little brother, oddly enough, told me
Not
he had
so
a
little
similar
anymore.
experience. No, it's not at all. Told me he had a similar experience where he's like, dude, you know, the first 1 or 2 episodes were just, he said I wasn't feeling it, but I stuck with it. I caught bits and pieces. I gave the first 2 episodes an honest watch, and then I disliked it so much I just would pop in, almost, you know, like where you see like I'm gonna watch 15 minutes of this, don't really care what's happening, but just see how this show's flowing.
Sure.
Never had a moment that grabbed me. I just think it's really over the top, pretentious. I didn't like the soundtrack. I thought it was like a hipster show. Like, this is really kind of boring and dark and really kind of misanthropic, but I dig it and I understand it and you don't, right?
That's where most media is these days.
Yeah. So that's how I felt about it. And new season and Leftover starts, pops on the other night. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch 5 minutes of this shit just to see. Again, I loosely know the story. Like, I know it enough to follow it, but I'm not watching it dedicated. I literally watched like 5 minutes of it, and all it did was just reaffirm my beliefs of it. Like, I probably caught the wrong 5 minutes, but I'm like, well, they haven't changed a damn thing. Like terrible music, violently loud, violently quiet, bunch of people in white taking pills. Oh my God, the rapture, hoo. Like, I was just way out.
It was an interesting concept, and I was intrigued by like, okay, that could be cool. You know, people vanish.
Oh,
Is it the rapture? Maybe it
HBO
is.
show that's about the rapture, or maybe it isn't. I mean, on paper, that's like sign me.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But that just didn't work for me. But I know Kai does listen to the podcast, our former podcast partner, and I'd be interested to see what he's thinking of this second season because he backed it hard. I almost feel like you have to live in Los Angeles to back it, and he lives in Los Angeles. So I wonder if that's just kind of a Santa Monica osmosis. Like, if he still lived in Ventura, would he be like, fuck that show? But he's down there, and there's just so many people that are into it. He's just forced.
Next time we actually are able to corral him and capture him in Ventura and make him do an episode with us, we'll get his
We'll
take
talk
on
about
it.
that.
Yeah.
Cool, Dan. Well, before we get to our picks of the week, we actually discussed a couple things. Do you have a little Spoonman's IT corner this week?
Oh, Jesus.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Do I have?
Is there anything in the tech world? We kind of discussed tech in terms of technology.
We kind of did. Nothing really glaringly new.
This week on Tech World, technology is moving too fast. That's what we've come to.
That's pretty much it. I can take out my entire school district with the flick of a wrist. Great. No, not really. It's been a calm week.
Hiding you when you're on the run from the law. Like, I did it, J-Man. I brought him all down.
I need help. I took down the school district. Those kids will never be able to test again.
It's just you porn anytime, any computer, every test, you know, school mandated test, you know, like MILF gangbang, like every computer just going off.
The problem with doing that is that obviously everybody would know, it was me because I wouldn't show up to work the next day. I mean, it's obviously very, very traceable and it's easily fixable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't so concerned if you could get away with it, more just you have the power to do it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not like a power trip kind of thing. For some IT guys, it is. But
I think it's badass that you have the power to put fucking YouPorn on everyone's computer in an entire school district.
Yeah, I could do that.
I respect that. You're like a super villain.
You will watch the porn.
Okay, in that case, if you ain't got no tech knowledge for us, picks of the week. Is there something that's floating your boat? Something you want to tell the world about?
I mean, it comes as no surprise, and it's not really this current, because we discussed it a little bit, just the new South Park.
Oh,
I thought,
dude, are you ready for this?
yeah,
That was my pick.
What? Oh,
That
son
was
of a
my
bitch.
pick. I swear to God. I swear to God. I was like, it's so predictable for me to pick South Park, but I'm like, it's what I'm digging right now, dude. That's crazy. We're completely on the
All
same
right,
page.
we got one pick this
so
week.
we can talk about it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Wow, dude, I'm telling you,
It's so
that
good.
show, it just maintains
It
its
just never
comedy.
stops.
It's always funny. You'll maybe get like 2 week episodes in a
First
10
episode this
episode
season was-
season. So it's one of the only shows that I consistently laugh out loud.
Me too.
I look forward to new episodes, and not only that is I'll watch them a couple times. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
I'll watch it 2 or 3 times. Like,
It's been floating around my office, and like the closing song of this most recent episode. It's like, you gotta see this.
oh man, it's great.
It's amazing.
I know some people that show's been on so long now that they've kind of gotten away from it, or they forget about it. I hear that a lot. Like that they've right now Dan's dog is taking down all aspects of the studio.
All of the microphones are
But
down.
they got away from it, and I tell them you gotta go back to it. I was with a bunch of people this weekend, essentially on a road trip,
Oh
and
yeah,
it was great. I kept referencing it though to the point where people were like, "Dude, you're getting a little obsessive." I'm
talking
like,
about?
"No, there's something that totally applies to this conversation, or there's this great moment, or you should have saw what they did with Bruce Jenner, or we have to talk about South Park." They and they're what I like about this season is they're kind of connecting episodes a little
Well, they
bit.
did this last season too,
Mhm.
and I think it was only last season. It may have been 2 seasons,
I mean, occasionally things pop back,
but like whole seasons running jokes. Not like these are episodic.
And
Things are not connected.
I feel like that's a thank you, or not a thank you, but it's a plus for a hardcore fan
Yeah.
because you stay connected. But couple new characters. PC Principal is incredible. He's incredible. And they did
Oh,
one of the
man.
episodes. If you don't watch South Park, we'll tell you what the episode was about. In our town where we live in Ventura, the Ventura area, there is basically I want to say a shopping center that kind of came to Oxnard, which is kind of like, you know, a crappier part of town.
It's the next town over.
And it's called the Collection. It has a name. This center has a name called the Collection, and the main part of it is a Whole Foods. That's like the main part.
That's the big attraction.
That's a big attraction.
One of them anyway.
And it so it's got a name. It's a Whole Foods, blah blah blah. It's a shopping center. And South Park did an episode, and the premise of the episode, Dan, correct me if I am wrong on any of this, is a shitty part of town gets transformed into a shopping center where the center of the shopping center is a Whole Foods, and you can live in and around the area. And the Collection, and that I just told you about here in, where we live, has a whole community that is sprung up around it that's connected to this. And on top of all of it, South Park gave it, this collective thing, the name, just like this has a collection. It's called Soto Sopa.
Well, no, I think where the Whole Foods is called Chiripa Town.
Yeah, it's
there is a Soto Sopa. So the whole episode is about gentrification, and it's just so funny. And they're like, you know, the Soto Sopas out there in Chiripa Town, and like my girlfriend Jacqueline is from Colorado, and she was like, yeah, whatever, that's funny, because there's like Lodo, which is Lower Denver, and then she just went back there today, and she was trying to organize plans with people, and they're like, well, we can go to like what the fuck, the Lower Highlands, or we could go to like God, I'm really blanking on the name of this other one. It was basically happening, and she was like, where the fuck are these neighborhoods? And they're like, it was like, that was like the shittiest part of town.
Yeah.
And they've literally revitalized it by naming it and adding like some stores, and like
a
now
Whole
it's a
Foods.
club. Yeah, and a Whole Foods, basically.
It's wild. I mean, literally that episode.
And it's all around like Kenny's house.
Yeah, happened where we live. I mean, it happened almost down to it. They even went to, they didn't put it in
River
Ventura,
Park.
which is a little nicer. They put it in Oxnard. Yeah, they put it in Oxnard, and they gave it a name, and you can live by it. I mean, I was watching this episode just losing my mind on just how timely South Park is.
Hadn't even put the Collection into that context.
You didn't?
No,
You didn't when you were watching it? I mean, I was
No.
just raging
It's
about
so
that.
much better. Like, because you know what? There's the Whole Foods, and there's the movie theater. You know, there's the Yard House right there, and like all these places you can live. And I was like, you know, what kind of nice, you live right there and just walk over to Yard House, have a beer, have a burger. You know, you got everything ready. Target's here.
It's an episode of South Park now.
Incredible.
It's been so great. I've enjoyed the first. I think there's been 4 episodes
been
so far
4.
this season. Love it, and that was my pick of the week. I just really I love that show.
Me too. It's so good to have them back.
Yeah, and it has surpassed The Simpsons for me. The Simpsons will always have a deep, deep place in my heart,
yeah.
but South Park's quality, I think, has maintained longer than The Simpsons, in my personal opinion. You know, like some of the new Simpsons episodes, you enjoy it.
Yeah,
You're watching The
they're always
Simpsons.
fun.
You know, but South Park is just unbelievable. I mean, and I love how they go after people. I love how it's very timely. It's very cultural. I mean, some of those
did you
shows.
hear the news about the most recent episode? I'm sure you did.
Maybe I did not.
So it's called. You see the most recent one, yes?
Yes.
You're not yelping.
Yes. Well, there's one after that.
Is there?
There's one last night.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
Oh wow!
I need to
You're
watch
stoked.
it. Well, I
You're
guess that's
stoked.
what I'm doing tonight.
It's a fat shaming episode.
Okay.
It's
So
called
there's
Safe
the You're Not
Place.
Yelping episode.
Yes, great.
The end of the episode, like, it was fun. I was laughing. I was like, this is kind of like 6 years ago. Why are they having this whole Yelp thing? And then they sort of changed tack, and it's like, all right, Yelpers are bullshit. And then at the end of the episode, like, the payoff was worth the sort of mediocre lead up, because the payoff was so good that I was laughing out loud the entire time. And then this was last week, 2 days ago, Yelp announced they're suing South Park for $10 million.
No way.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
No.
But South Park is they're so protected. I mean, they go after everybody. They call them out.
God, yeah.
But do you know they've never, to my knowledge, as many times as they've been sued, they've never ever been found. I mean, they're lawyers, and they must be so protected.
Oh no.
What are you looking at?
The internet says it was a fake.
I knew it.
God damn it.
I knew it.
It was so funny because South Park's response was so good.
They're so covered. You know, they just do such a good job.
I mean,
you know?
I guess if Yelp actually did that, playing on making a satirical "we're suing you" thing, then that's even better.
Oh, it's so great. That show just continues to stand out. So that was our pick of the week. I mean, man, that may be the first time ever we nailed the same, you know, even back with the Guy days. I don't think
definitely.
Yeah, everyone's on the same page. That's awesome. Real quick, before we get into the topic, new Star Wars trailer. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, I haven't. The world's freaking out. Like, tickets went on sale. Everybody's freaking out about that. There's a new trailer.
You know what I got to tell you about that is it looks like the old movies. It has the feel. Obviously, some of the technology is a little better. Go figure. But God, it feels like
doing it like the old
feels
movies were done.
like the old movies.
They're
the
using
look
puppets.
of it, the sound of it, it truly felt like, wow, like this could be amazing. This could have the magic, because those three that they made after, we've talked about it countless times. They looked different. They just looked a little different. Like, you know, like too shiny, like technology was too good. And this even had the look, the outfits, the short jackets, the sideburns. I'm thinking it could be amazing. I'm really thinking it could be amazing.
Me too, and I certainly hope so. I mean, J.J. Abrams has a really, really good track record. He's got Disney money behind him now. Probably carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wants, because he's just writing a string of successes.
Even to see Harrison Ford and you know, Leia and Luke, even though they're old as hell, it's still like, yeah. That's what I needed. I needed to see those people. So it was great, and they debuted it in the intermission of Monday Night Football, which is
weird,
way weird, right? But it also is telling, I think, of a couple things, how integrated everything is now, once again, with technology, but with media, it's all connected.
Well, especially like Star Wars. I don't care if you're a nerd or not. Probably you like Star Wars.
But would you say, like, they wouldn't have done that when the old Star Wars came out in the 80s?
Hell no.
It was kind of a different market. I think, like, if you were a football jock or a sports fan, they're not going to spend all their advertising dollars in the middle of Monday Night Football. It's the wrong audience.
And they didn't do that for the second three either.
But now everything is kind of so connected, and the social media, you know, people that, you know, Monday Night Football is a big freaking deal. You know, tons of people go home to watch Monday Night Football, but it's just, the world is such an interesting place. I guess interesting is the right word, but it's just strange that now it's combined where a sci-fi movie, and granted, that's a juggernaut, that's on a completely different level, but a sci-fi movie on this huge, one of the biggest movie franchises of all time, if not the single
also
biggest.
A 40-year-old sci-fi movie.
Yeah, right? It would choose to advertise specially and do a special promo, not in the middle of a movie, not in the middle of an event, but in the middle of the largest sport in the United States.
Sure.
It's just strange to me how it's all together now.
Well, so Monday Night Football, is that still NBC?
It's
Or is that-
ESPN
oh,
now.
It's ESPN.
It's
Okay.
ESPN now. But ready for this? Disney
Yeah.
owns
Of course,
ESPN.
that's where I was
and
going.
Disney owns that. So maybe it's like, you know what? This is where we're going to hype this. So all these people tune into ESPN that probably never watch ESPN. There's probably comic book nerds all over the United States or the world for that matter that literally put on ESPN, and perhaps it's a channel they never go to. So it'd be very curious to see the ratings on that. Like, what was the spike? Like, did it suddenly go up like millions of
There are a
viewers?
lot more geeks than I was aware of that actually really enjoy football.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was a giant spike, but it's, it's like the South Park episode where they had to watch the new Terrence and Phillip trailer.
Yeah, I feel like the lines of culture are being blurred a lot like that. There's a band,
They're dissolving.
The Wonder Years, the band The Wonder
Yeah,
Years,
people
right?
love
You know,
that.
people love the ever living shit out of them. That whole new pop punk movement where it's almost kind of hardcore. Regardless of what you think about it, I think they're a good band. Really liked one of their records. But like the lead guy in that band is a huge football fan. Like I'm talking tweets about it, plays fantasy football, wears his jerseys at gigs and shit like that. And I'm kind of going back to like prior to us even doing music as a career or living, like, could you imagine Kurt Cobain coming out on stage with a Cincinnati Bengals
You would have been
jersey
killed.
and not in a mocking way. I'm talking in like, yo, what's up? We're Nirvana.
Yeah.
Hey, my favorite team's the Cincinnati Bengals. Like people, it was the antithesis of that. That was not rockers did not. It was like sacred lines,
Especially since he would have been a Browns fan.
Yeah, there you go. But you know how that, you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
It's so different. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, could you imagine even? I mean, I'm sure there was random exceptions and stuff, but could you imagine like, fucking, I don't know. Obviously they were a very serious type band. The rappers would do the athletic thing, but not rockers,
especially basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball.
Not rockers.
No.
I mean.
And I know football has always been very big. It was big when I was growing up, but it seems now that it's never been bigger.
Never been bigger. And
ever.
fantasy is a
It's
big
massive.
part of that. Fantasy football it's crazy. I mean, I have a fantasy team. I know tons of people that do. I didn't have a fantasy team 10 years ago.
2 of my coworkers are in a fantasy league.
And now with this DraftKings stuff.
Well, yeah, that's a
whoa.
big, here we are.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I got, again, my little brother. I know people that are practically addicted to that. Like every single Sunday, they throw $25 in or $50.
DraftKings?
Oh, yeah.
It's DraftKings. And what's the other one?
There's two that are huge.
Yeah, there's another big one that they're both under investigation at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very different. Football has become, I mean, it's like a religion in this country.
FanDuel is the other one.
FanDuel.
Yeah.
So, it's just curious to me that you can now put a Star Wars trailer in front of a football audience and there's not a backlash on either side. You didn't get a bunch of jocks saying, I don't want to see a bunch of fucking Star Wars things. And you didn't get a bunch of Star Wars guys saying, this is bullshit.
Football.
I'm not going to watch it during football. It's like completely acceptable.
It's idiocracy is what it is. So if you haven't seen that, do yourself a favor.
It is.
And go watch a great Mike Judge movie.
Yeah.
Idiocracy.
It is. Well, Dan, a lot of great conversation so far tonight. Definitely enjoying it. We're looking on time right here because I feel like we really have spent a lot of time on a lot of different topics.
I'm not sure exactly when we started, but we're probably 40 minutes in, 30 minutes
about 40
in.
minutes in. I'm going to throw this out here right now. I know we teased
What you
everybody
got?
saying
What
that
you
they would get hungry, but I'm starting to think that we don't have enough time really to do this topic justice because I think it could be a really cool topic and I think there's a lot of aspects of it.
Yep.
Should we keep rolling with our conversation about technology and what's going on with some of this media stuff? Because I think there's still more to talk about.
There definitely is. And I think given live audience, what do you no one's watching. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
That's true. I'm going to look into the computer really quick just to make sure no one's out there.
Hello?
Yeah, nobody's out there, but I am knocking the windscreen off. These windscreens suck.
They do, yeah. Between you and Riker, man, this is a goddamn mess.
These are whack-ass windscreens. Yeah, so we'll save this topic because I think it's a good one, the one that we had in mind. But let's get back to what we were kind of jumping around on all these things with all this media and all these TV shows and promotion and all that kind of stuff. It's to stay on that track with this whole Star Wars thing being plugged like that. Another thing that I think is really crazy with this Star Wars movie is they show this trailer and then they put the tickets on sale.
Yeah.
This movie is not coming out until December 18th.
For another 3 months.
3 months.
2 months.
Almost to the
2
day.
months.
Oh, 2 months. Now, when we were growing up, there were no advance tickets.
No, you got in line and waited.
You got in line.
Yeah.
And if the
Which I
was,
did. I'm not Kai. I didn't wait in line 27 times.
But you
to
got
see.
in line.
We got in line.
And
yeah.
if it filled up, you had to wait for the next showing, essentially.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing reports have come in.
Reports are coming in, J-Man.
Yeah, reports are coming in that shows are sold out.
Yeah. Oh, quickly. Very quickly.
A movie.
Well, and
A movie showing 2 months away is selling out like a goddamn Beatles concert.
Some theaters are also doing all 6 prequels and then the new one.
Yeah, now
And those are selling out.
I know I've mentioned to you my cousin before, and I don't think you've ever met him. His name's Travis. Same age as me. We grew up together.
The guy that got us, that actually didn't get us any Soul Cerveza when he got sponsored by them, or is that a different cousin?
Totally different cousin. Totally different concept. Yeah, that guy isn't really cousin. Like he's like a third, whatever. But my real cousin, who is basically my age, and we grew up together as kids, all that kind of stuff. He is a Star Wars nut, and on level with Kai. Dare I say, it's hard to beat Kai because he's got the ink. Anytime somebody says, like, oh, I'm more of a Star Wars guy, Kai changed his middle name to Lando, to a character.
I think that's a bigger tell than the ink, because ink these days is, anybody gets a
Good
tattoo.
call.
But he actually went to the DMV, had to go in front of a judge and say, I'm changing my middle name to Lando.
Yeah, he's next level. But my cousin Travis
in many ways
is in the mix there, from the collecting to the toys to the fact that he briefly wrote a column in an old magazine called Stuff. Remember Stuff magazine?
Oh,
He had
this
Travis,
okay,
right? He his first opening column was about the Star Wars Christmas special, which is like an iconic piece of trash. But so here's the deal.
Like Kiss Christmas?
Basically. So my mom was telling me that there are, or maybe it was my brother. Somebody's telling me that he is planning on doing what you just said.
Oh, wow.
And it starts at something crazy. Supposedly it starts at like 6 a.m. or something
easy.
like that.
Easy.
And you're the day of, you watch all freaking 6 movies. Am I right? Not 3.
No, you watch them all.
6.
Yes.
You start with Menace, right? Yeah,
well, you don't start with episode 4 like we had to in the 70s.
Yeah, you start with Menace and you go all
in order
the way. Where will your brain be by the time it reaches? I don't know what time the showing is.
It'll be asleep.
Can you even appreciate the new one? I mean, can you even appreciate it? Could you personally watch all 6 and then the new one? I could see every night. Like if you went to the movie theater, like imagine a week promo.
That's what I
every
want.
night.
That's
at
how
8.
I want to do it.
Yeah, every night at 8 from Monday all the way to whatever it is Sunday. We show one, and then the new one drops.
And I think honestly,
that would be fun.
And
a lot of people will probably do that on their own time.
And I think that's what I'm going to do, because I have a slight confession to make, not of my own, but my girlfriend has never watched Star Wars.
She's one of those.
She's a fucking millennial.
She's one of those.
She is one of those. So in
that's the one that we always talk about. That is just bizarre.
Yeah,
fucked up bizarre.
It's weird. It's it's fine. So my friend Dylan, who was
also
a
much bigger problem.
But we're gonna fix it. She's down to watch them all. So we're gonna watch them all before we go see the new one.
Are you gonna do Menace first, or are you gonna do 4?
Here's the thing.
That's a big dilemma. I think you find yourself in.
What my friend Dylan suggested, and he's a comic book nut as well. He loves Star Wars. He writes comics, like great dude. He suggested that my girlfriend would be a perfect experiment for this particular cut called the machete cut of Star Wars, which I had never heard of until he brought it up. And I need to run it past Kai. So Kai, if you're listening, let me know if it's a good idea or not.
Yeah.
Guys,
it's a shame he can't weigh in on this. That's why we got to get the phone line set up.
Well,
this is a
Kai, we're calling you. He's probably in band practice.
No, but this is a perfect example of why we need the phone lines.
All right. Well,
you keep promising.
I only got 2 inputs here, J-Man.
I know, and I'm using one of them to charge my phone.
You son of a bitch. The machete cut.
I would like to apologize, everyone. We cannot have guests on Fresh Talk because I needed to charge
Chris's phone is
the oldest iPhone ever. If anybody's watching,
I have a picture of it, and you can't quite make out how beautiful it was. But when we were in, what was the old concert hall? It used to be a social club in England, and there was like the upstairs. It was the green room. It was a beautiful room.
You're talking about Lit?
Yes, with the lit. And
yeah, we were in was it Portsmouth or Southampton? Southampton.
It was
Southampton.
You're right.
That was
Because
a cool club. They had just opened
it's
it
a
up.
great
Yeah,
club.
yeah.
I have a
It felt
picture.
big.
I
Yeah.
have a picture of your phone hanging upside down by its cord charging because that's the only outlet you could find.
Yeah.
And I was like, my friends are going to freak.
Yeah. Yeah.
My IT friends. Anyway,
That's a proud moment in the history of mechanical moments.
the oldest iPhone ever.
Yeah.
So the
I
machete
believe that
cut
got a lot of play on Twitter too. A lot of people. I caught a lot of shots because somebody threw it up.
might have been me. Might have been Kai. I don't know.
So this cut you
This
speak
cut,
of.
you start with episode 4. So you go 4, 5, episode 2, Attack of the Clones, episode 3, and then episode 6.
Why?
The reason being, no episode 1, no Jar Jar Binks, no bullshit. And then
One doesn't even exist.
you don't do it in this order. And what happens, as Dylan explained it to me, and I'm sure Kai will weigh in, you start with episode 4, you learn who everybody is, you go to episode 5, you get Empire, you start to
You're
learn,
hooked.
you're hooked. You're like, man, everything's fucked up. Luke's arm is cut off. You learn about Darth Vader. Then you go back to episode 2 and you learn about Darth Vader's beginnings. Because as Dylan explained it, and I think he's right after thinking about it, episodes 1, 2, and 3, they're really about the Emperor. They're really about the Emperor's rise to power. I mean, you have Obi-Wan, you have Anakin Skywalker, who later in 3rd becomes Darth Vader. But it's really, if you watch them from the beginning, it's kind of about the Emperor's rise to power.
Okay. So in other words, why do you need this little fucking kid?
Exactly. So then you go back, you learn about Darth Vader's bringing up, upcoming, and then boom, you jump to Return of the Jedi. You see everything, and you're like, fuck. So We'll see how this goes.
That's fascinating.
And I had never heard of
Yeah,
it.
I'd like to be interested to see what Kai thinks about that. Man, those fucking. I mean, literally, we've probably said it in different ways 100 times in the history of this podcast, but
sure.
I see how that could really throw somebody off. Like, I feel bad for your lady in terms of I couldn't start her off like that. I just think it would be a disservice because there's a certain 70s magic to those, regardless of the story. You have to think of the time when that came out.
But that's not that. I mean, and she's good about putting herself in the shoes of maybe the filmmaker, but like she's not there. Like there are other films now. Things look better. I mean, ILM created all of these technologies that they're using now.
I'm
but
attracted to that old 70s film
well,
look. I even like some bad, like I've gone deep into like weird stuff, but like the Walking Tall movies, not the Rock ones, but the ones in the 70s and Death Wish. Like I like the way those films look.
You do, but not everybody does. And so like to just start with episode 4, 5, 6, and then go 1, 2, 3.
But when I was a kid, I didn't like how those looked, which is really weird.
Like you're an adult now and you have an appreciation for the finer things.
Like old Westerns to me looked awful, like, oh God, but now I'm a huge Western fan.
They still look awful by today's standards, but they're the movies themselves stand up.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times can they have that, that one fight scene that was in the Japanese movie
and that's with movies today. It's just like, Jesus God, another ridiculous. It's like car chases now. Everything's so faked. They really lack any excitement. But like if you watch Bullet, which at the time was like the greatest car chase ever filmed, it was a real car.
Going down Lombard.
Exactly. There you go, Lombard. When it hit, so there was a man driving that car. So if you understood what that guy was going through when he was driving it, you're like, this is wild. And when he was doing 100, he was doing 100, and he was hitting this thing. Close the streets, and no one would die. But French Connection, that was the other great car chase too. Man. And there were actually little bits that caught when they hit streets that weren't closed down, and you see dudes diving out of the way who are literally,
incredible.
But now everything's so, you know what I mean? Like it hits the building and the sparks are CGI and the explode. They used to, like when cars used to go off the cliffs in movies,
they would send the car.
They would send the car off the cliff.
It happened every week in Knight Rider.
Yeah, exactly.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, and then they put like a shit ton of C4 in the trunk, and there'd be a cat that would blow it up. That was real.
I know. So
now
cool.
You don't get that anymore. You know?
You had George Papard up there pulling the trigger.
Yeah. What a glory. It's crazy. Yeah, it was good. Well, there's technology for you. I mean, it all comes around. We got to call this episode "The Tech Awakens."
Fair.
You like that?
I'll give it that. Audience, what do you? Oh, still nobody watching. Tech Awakens. It is.
Tech Awakens. There you go. Can't even ask anybody. If you are listening to this, and you wondering why we are still referring to no one watching, I do want to reiterate that for people that are new to the podcast, because occasionally we get people that pop in for an episode, disappear for 10, and pop in. We have a new system where we film it live
Yeah, we're recording this live on the internet.
on the internet.
Yes.
So if you happen to see when we tweet or take a post that we're recording it, there's really no advance. We kind of just kamikaze it.
If we have notice, we will give it to you. Sometimes we don't have notice.
Sometimes we don't. So you could be watching this live, actually watching you and I sit in your parents' garage and have this discussion. But essentially, we are still recording it for the purposes of putting it up on iTunes and different podcatchers to listen to it later. But occasionally, if you hear us say no one's watching, that's what we're talking about. You know, because we do offer this live stream, but it has to be, you got to be lucky when this puppy's going.
Yeah, and we do it in the hopes that you'll tune in live and you can interact with us. You can send us feedback.
Exactly.
Give us questions. Like we did get a question, which we were going to talk about this week, but it got postponed because we're having such a good call about, well,
this potential surprise topic. So that's when we're talking about no one's watching or someone's watching or we're staring at a screen. That's what's going on. That's if, like I said, you get lucky. It's like at this point, it's like winning the lottery. If we did this every week at the same time, we could probably hone in to get some people to watch it regularly. But obviously with our schedules kind of all over the place, you know.
That's why it will always be a podcast available on iTunes or podcatchers
all times
worldwide.
And with that said, with this podcast, as always, if you are listening, whether you've been with us for day one, because this is crazy statistic.
Yeah.
But I think this is the 2-year anniversary.
It's coming up.
It's coming up.
Because the inaugural 3 episodes were you and Kai talking horror movies.
Yeah, and we recorded those in mid to late October. Yeah. So we actually may be spot on, give a day or two, but you know, so we were coming up on 2 years of religiously sticking with this. Occasionally we miss a week, but it's pretty solid, minus the one break we had when we reconfigured it.
I had a reorg.
But 2 years of doing this cast, and we're getting close to 100 episodes.
We are. This, I believe, will be episode 87.
Wow.
So we are.
100's cool. That's wild.
100's cool.
To do anything 100
13
times
away.
Is like, yeah, we're very close. So this is coming up close on the 2 episodes. And I do think, with that said, you know, I'm not going to be around next week, so maybe you want to roll one of those fakey casts.
I think next week we'll roll one we've pre-recorded.
A pre-recorded episode. But it would be nice to have just to bring it back the horror movie conversation. Granted, we don't have Kai yet again, who is an expert talking Star Wars, talking horror movies. We're really missing out.
We're doing everyone a disservice.
Yeah. But it would be nice to touch back on the original first topic that ever occurred on Fresh Talk, which was a very serious conversation about horror movies. And Kai and I started this. You joined the podcast like I think 2 or 3 episodes in, but when we started, the very first one was an incredibly scholarly look. Like Kai and I researched it, and we learned very fast that there is no way to research the topic at the level that we did in the first 2 episodes. So that's when you came aboard. It started to become a little more free form. But if you ever want really want to hear a serious conversation about horror movies from their inception to the early Universal movies all the way up into the slasher flicks, go to the very first 2 episodes of Fresh Talk, the very first 2 ever.
I think it's 1, 2,
and this will surprise you because we don't curse. There's no talk of freaking Titty Town. There's no what was that chubby movie I came up with earlier? I don't even remember.
Chub Boat.
Yeah, the Chub Boat. Yeah, there's nothing like that. It was very serious. Like, hi, this is Kai, and this is Chris, and you're listening to Fresh Talk.
We're talking horror movies.
Yeah, we're talking horror movies today. In 1921, a man named Carl Lamel decided that he wanted for his movie studio a scary film. Scary films were new at that time. Yes, they were, Chris. It was a very interesting period in American history. And then all of a sudden, 3 episodes later, it's like, I need to see some titty. So the vibe of the podcast changed dramatically. But I think this one's a little more honest. You're actually hearing how we would probably talk to each other, minus a few unprintable stories.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, as always, folks, thank you very much for listening. We jumped around
a little bit
this
week.
Only
the first 2 episodes are horror movies.
First 2 episodes, but we really recommend it. And with Halloween coming up and horror movies on the way, a lot of horror movies in TV right now, a lot of new horror movies coming out, including Scout's Guide to the Apocalypse, Zombie Apocalypse. You know, it may be good to revisit those 2 episodes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Get a little primer.
Primer.
The first one was October 22nd. Today is October 22nd. Second. My God, it's 2 years to the day.
2-year anniversary today. We didn't even know, and we recorded on the same day, or at least the day it was posted. Because we probably recorded a little earlier.
Maybe.
Yeah. Who cares? This is the 2-year anniversary.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah, we didn't even really get to celebrate. We'll celebrate in the next episode.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for listening to us ramble on about the things that are important to us in this world.
Yeah, we're not sure why you do, but we appreciate it.
Totally. And with that said, Dan, as always, if you're new to the cast, where can people go to make sure they get the new episode when it posts every week?
You can go, if you have an iPhone, you can just get it in the iTunes Music Store. You can use your podcatcher of choice.
Mhm.
Overcast, which is a very popular iOS podcasting app, is now free.
I just have a thing on my phone on the main screen that says podcasts.
You do. You have a podcast app that comes with your iPhone.
Comes with
Apparently, it sucks.
It sucks.
So get Overcast. Apparently, it's good.
It works for me. I have a thing that says my podcasts, and I have 5 podcasts.
Wrestling,
in there.
boxing, wrestling.
No, I have my conspiracy podcast, that one that I told you about,
yeah.
that the thinking upside out or whatever, where I get my little mysteries.
That's fun.
Yeah, I keep it pretty minimal on my podcast. I only listen to 2 or 3.
I got to listen to one, but I may have a recommendation for you.
I actually topic for another time. I need to
Okay.
talk Bigfoot sometime. Remind me of that. I want to do an episode on Bigfoot.
We can point counterpoint.
Yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good. So that but yeah, I was like, I wonder if there's any Bigfoot podcasts. I got caught in the
kidding?
dude, I got caught in the Wikipedia wormhole. In my time off of the Bigfoot case, we're talking Sasquatch here for real, big guy in the woods, right? All hairy. Like, because I was way into it when I was a kid, like fucked up. There was a period in my life where like, I'm going to hunt Bigfoot. That's my plans. You know, teacher, what are you gonna do with your life? But the Bigfoot horror movie genre apparently has exploded.
You found him though. It's Aaron, right?
Has exploded. It's huge. There's Bigfoot TV shows everywhere. There's Bigfoot podcasts. Like, oddly enough, I apparently was way ahead of my time, because I would kill to see a bunch of bad Bigfoot horror movies when I was in the 5th grade. And now it's like a whole industry, which is crazy, because I guess apparently, what's the easiest horror movie to make? If you got Woods and you got 3 buddies and you can come up with the Sasquatch costume, you don't need anything else. There's no set dressing.
Don't need none of this Slender Man bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. So crazy. Yes, Sasquatch. That'd be a good episode. Squatching with the J-Man.
That's what we do every week.
Yeah, totally. Where else, Dan?
So all of our stuff, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. It's all linked at freshtalkpodcast.com, which says it's coming soon. That means the website. Podcast is already here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can link to it from anything.
You go on into iTunes, you search Fresh Talk.
Yeah.
Every episode will come up.
Or your podcatcher of choice. If you're on Android and have a podcatcher app, just search for it. We'll be there.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, if you like what you hear, we always say it, we always will, but there's some great episodes that are now we've built up. You know, we're coming up on 100 episodes.
We're getting there.
You know, take a look, click. We always give them funny names. We try to give them funny names, but see what we talk about in the little info box, because there's probably a subject at this point that we've tackled, because we
talk about European football,
we
American football.
We get requests for different topics occasionally,
Talk
and
about the World Cup.
some of those things we've hit. It's almost like I don't think we'll ever run out of topics, but there's some topics I think we have to re-examine. I mean, things are always changing and happening, but there's all sorts of things that we've covered over the years, from funny episodes to fun ones to serious ones to where we started episode 1, horror movies, to everything under the sun. So make sure you're bored late at night, you can't sleep. Hop on the old iTunes, hop on your podcatcher, check out a couple old episodes. Maybe you'll find a couple gems in there.
Yeah, and if we didn't hit a topic you want us to talk about, let us know. Just at Fresh Talk Pod on the Twitter.
Absolutely.
Facebook.com/Fresh Talk Podcast.
Absolutely.
Just give us a shout, Fuzz. We got you. Your suggestion is coming up.
Yes, it is coming up. We're going to be talking about something that's very dear to you and I.
Very near and dear.
And with that said, a lot of good stories to tell in the next coming weeks. So I got the movie is finished.
Oh, shit.
And when I say Dan finished, I mean everything, Dan. I've told you this before, but it is
I've been hearing this for a year.
Officially 100% color, sound, art, everything. The movie is done. We've begun the distribution hunt this week, and hopefully next time I'm here, I have at least developments on the distribution front, which leads, of course, to ultimately the release front, as opposed to weeping silently into a cocktail that you made me, because literally no one even wants to see the film, let alone distribute the film. So it will be an interesting couple of weeks in my life.
I will find a red carpet to roll out at your house, James.
Yeah, like I told you 100 times, I don't give 2 shits. If I have to take this to the people, I'm having myself a premiere in Ventura with all my friends, and I'm going to watch this on a screen.
Oh, yeah?
I don't care if it's the worst film ever. I don't care if I go down in history as the Ed Wood of comedy. I want to show it once on the screen
at some point.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Ed Wood, great movie.
I never saw it.
You never saw Ed Wood?
No, I heard it was really boring.
What? That movie's sensational.
All right,
You'd love it. You'd love it. Really good. Great performance. Well, with that said, here on the 2-year anniversary of Fresh Talk, that we're not celebrating because we're going to save it for another episode.
Also, we didn't have the theme song then.
Yes. In keeping with the Chub Boat, Dan, Spew the bossa nova.
Woo!